All right, my favorite people, Sterling White here, and I'm back at it again with another topic for you on the real estate investing rules of thumb that you should or actually must know. Whether it's the 1% rule, the 2% rule, the 50% rule, the 80-20 rule. So stay tuned to get these insights because this will allow you to quickly analyze deals on the front end and determine whether or not it is actually worth pursuing. And of course, those of you who are on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And those of you who may be on iTunes, SoundCloud, WorldStar, Hip Hop, for instance, go ahead and leave that rating. It would really mean the world to me. So let's go ahead and jump into the first point now. The first is the 1% rule. Many are already aware of this, where it's just if you're all into a property, for instance, $100,000 with the purchase price as well as the repairs, 1% of that on the rent side should be $1,000. And this is your front end, back of the napkin math. If you're using this rule of thumb to determine, okay, I wish to continually pursue in purchasing this property. But I do caution that this is not the all by means of actually, okay, going under contract on using this rule of thumb, which is a mistake that many people make, and they actually don't run their numbers. And this rule of thumb is very market dependent. When I first started in Indianapolis, for instance, you could actually get the 2% rule in solid C working class neighborhoods. You're not even able to get that now. This was in 2013 where you can do that. But other markets such as California, 1% rule is not even realistic. You're looking at 0.5% or 0.25%. It's just entirely different markets. So that's the thing when it comes to using these rules of thumb, you have to be aware is that it's not just a simple cut and paste in each and every market. Is you just have to figure out, okay, this market, I can be able to exercise this particular metric. And the next is the 100 to the 10 to the 3 to the 1. And this is more on the finding deals and acquisition side. For every 100 deals that you look at, 10 of those you will place an offer on, 3 of those will get accepted, and 1 of those you will actually buy and close on. And this is a good metric that if you're not within it or at least close, because especially in today's market is you're actually having to look at more deals, that it's a good indicator that maybe you need to refine your strategy or your metrics that you have as far as the returns that you want may be too aggressive, or you're going direct to the owner and your process is you don't have a process, and it's something that you have to go out there and possibly figure out and put more of a structure in place. Or let's say you're going on market through brokers, that maybe you need to switch and open up another market and get more brokers in to increase that top of the funnel of more properties coming in to your pipeline. And we've got the 80-20 rule up. And this is 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. And this is just determining is what are the lower value activities versus the higher value activities. And this is example I always like to provide because when I was first on the acquisitions in my single family home days is that many of the owners that I saw that got burnt out very quickly were one, cutting their own grass, either or they were doing the painting and the repairs to the property themselves. And you just have to determine is painting a house where you could pay someone 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour to be able to do that. And now you can free up your time and energy to be able to focus on, let's say, nurturing relationships with brokers or going direct to the owner and having those phone calls or putting marketing efforts out there so that way you can start to get eyeballs on what you're doing to attract investors. Or is it cutting grass? So that is the 80-20 principle there. And now we've got the 50% rule, which is what you can use on the front end for back of the napkin math, which is the operating expenses. So taking your income, let's say $1,200, for instance, on a per month basis, is that 50% of that is going to go to operating expenses. and that over the course of the investment, you may have some months to where it's 40%, another month it may be 70%, another month it may be 60, and another may be 50. So just averaging that is you'll tend to be roughly at about 50% operating expenses. And you may ask, what are operating expenses? So it's all the expenses associated with operating the property outside of your loan payment. So this could be a property management fee, taxes, insurance, repairs and maintenance, your vacancy allocation. Please allocate for your vacancy, because your property is not always going to be 100% occupied. Yes, that would be ideal, but you still want to protect your downside. And this is a prime example of a question or a conversation I had with a recent investor, is that he mentioned he was actually doing a Airbnb in Vegas. And I asked him, he said that, okay, I'm actually hitting the 1% rule. And he said that what he's doing is, it's a single family house. He's cutting it up into 3 individual units. First, I asked him, is that up to code? He said no. And then second, I asked, okay, well, if you're not able to convert it to 3 units, then what does it look like as far as the numbers? He said, well, I really don't know, but I'd be screwed. So that was another error that was there. And I was just simply providing feedback, and I was just prodding. I wasn't like judging or anything, but I was just asking questions. So one, he wasn't protecting his downside. And then lastly is I asked him, okay, what are your numbers? What's your cash on cash, and what is your annualized return? And they look like a deer in the headlights. I just stopped them in their tracks with that question. So you've got to know your numbers. So with all these rules of thumb, such as the 1% rule that I mentioned, and even the 50% rule with the operating expenses, is that you still want to run the deal through a calculator, because one thing the 1% rule doesn't take into consideration is that your property could be in a flood zone. Now the insurance costs are increased. Secondly is that you could be in a state where the property taxes are just outrageous. So that's also something. So always just run it through a calculator. That way you understand, you put in your actual, okay, these are going to be my ongoing repairs and maintenance. This is going to be the utility costs if you're paying the utilities, for instance. Okay, this is going to be the property taxes if I haven't already said that. This is going to be the allocation for the vacancy. So those are some metrics that you want to have, and always by using a calculator, because on my very first deal, I didn't do that. I just used the 2% rule, which ended up working out, because not only did it hit the 2% rule, had 50% equity. So it was all invested into the property. So bought it for $25,000, put 25 into it. So it was all in $50,000. And then ended up renting it for about $850, so just under the 2% rule. And then the after repair value was $100,000, so had $50,000 built-in equity. So it was a good deal either way, but still should have ran it through the calculator. So those are all the points that we have for today. I appreciate everyone so much. Keep being awesome. Go ahead and comment below for those of you who are on the YouTube with anything, literally anything. If you're not going to do it for me, do it for the algorithm, and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And those of you who are listening on, let's say, World Star Hip Hop or SoundCloud, iTunes, go ahead and leave that rating. It would really mean the world to me. And let's keep steadily working towards becoming the strongest version of self, because there's a lot of things that are going on in the outside world. One of the things is steadily myself is I'm just looking to be better every day, because I realize I'm a human being just like everyone else, and just looking to become more aware of where are my blind spots. And that's why I constantly like to put myself around people who are even further along in their journeys than me, that see things about myself that I may not see. And then also being open to accepting criticism, because it can be tough if you have more of an ego. I try to leave my ego at the door, but I still realize that it is there at times, because I'm an entrepreneur and I've been able to get to where I am by using some of that to ultimately keep driving where I am, and there's still so much more to go. So I appreciate everyone so much. I'm on this journey just like you, and if there's any way I can help, don't ever hesitate to reach out. There's actually a link below to schedule a strategy session, and on that session we'll go into your business, what you're currently doing, what's not working, and be able to put together an action plan on the next step. So thank you so much. Keep being awesome. Thank you.